Journal entry 15. As soon as I chose the dark side, everything changed. I nervously stood outside room 259, my heart pounding, my fingers gripping the doorknob like it was a lifeline, preventing me from drowning in sorrow. My dad had just survived a double heart bypass surgery. Mom's voice echoed in my head. "It's your fault he's in the hospital." When I finally opened the door and walked inside, Dad looked exhausted. His hands lay limp on the starch white sheets. "Hey kiddo," he rasped, like his throat was lined with gravel. It was hard seeing him like that. To the world he was just an old man, but to me he was my hero. I mustered a faint smile, then he asked about the flower. "So, how's it holding up?" My gaze slid away. "Not so good." "It died." My voice cracked. But he smiled, like he could see right through me. "Flowers grow all the time, Erica. I'll get you another one." The entire visit I was grief-stricken. I knew he was worried about me, but I worried about him. He was getting older, and I wanted him to live out his golden years in peace, but apparently I was the only one that felt that way. I mean, nearly every day my mom was filling his ears with complaints about me, and he was so heartbroken that he literally had a heart attack. I grasped his hand at the mere thought of it. He must have had sensed my pain because his grip on my fingers tightened. Promise me, you'll try." There was a sense of urgency in his eyes. It took my breath away. I couldn't speak, so instead I nodded. I knew what he meant. He wanted me to have hope again and to find the strength to fight back my inner darkness. So the next weeks were a blur of me trying. I went back to school, kept my head down, and when I returned home, I discovered tons of boxes in my room. Apparently, word of my returning to school got around fast, because Mom's friend pulled up to the house with a truckload of clothes for me. On one of the boxes, there was a note. "For your fresh start." A brief smile flashed across my face before it quickly faded. I wanted to believe things would improve, but that truth was I knew better than to have false hope. Journal entry 16. The next day, normally I'd walk home from school, but that day, as soon as I stepped outside, I spotted Nick's car idling by the curb. It was strange, he'd never picked me up before. I slid into the passenger seat, and he started talking before I could even shut the door. "Mom asked me to pick you up," he said flatly. "But why?" I asked, frowning. "Something about wanting you to see her new store." New store? Mom had never mentioned anything like that. A part of me felt a flicker of excitement, but mostly, I was confused. As we drove closer to the address Mom gave Nick, my stomach twisted. When we arrived, Mom stood outside the building, chatting with the owner. She was beaming, clutching a lease agreement in her hand. "Can we go inside?" I asked, craning my neck toward the storefront. "Not yet, it's still under renovation," she replied, but her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Something felt off. When we got home later, my blood ran cold. My bedroom was empty. The boxes that were given to me, it was all gone. My closet, once bursting with clothes, was stripped bare. All I had left were the clothes on my back. Mom took everything. I stood frozen, tears blurring my vision. When I finally confronted her, she just shrugged. "What things?" she said, as if I'd imagined it all. When I raised my voice, she called me dramatic and crazy, but Norman knew. He'd fought through the static in his head long enough to warn me. "You don't get it," he muttered, slouched in a nearby chair, staring at the wall. "Mom, her heart is scarred. She has a tattoo on her head. Lost soul, Helen did it." His voice wavered, like he was reciting a secret too heavy to hold. I wanted to believe his words were the ramblings of a madman, but something inside me knew it was true. But before I could ask more, Norman wandered into the next room, talking to himself again. Instantly, the walls felt like they were closing in. So later, I waited until Mom finished washing her hair. That's when I saw it, the word lost, barely peeking through her damp strands. My stomach dropped as the revelation hit me. My entire family was wicked. The realization hit like a freight train. My internal warning system sent jolts of anxiety through me, and my subconscious held up a sign that said, "Girl, run." That's when I grabbed my laptop backpack and the dried up flower on my desk, my last remnant of hope. I ran away. My friend picked me up and drove me to a motel, where I hid for a week. But somehow Nick and Diamond found me. They arrived with police and created a scene. And the cops gave me two options: live with Nick and Diamond or go back to the juvenile facility, so I agreed to stay with them. But Mom didn't like that at all, and that's when she started devising a plan to steal me back.